And that is the power of Bluetooth. So welcome to Hacking Business Technology, episode 59. We just lost Hooper after some technical difficulties, even before the show. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
So we're destined to have technical difficulties throughout this episode.
Today we will be teaching mudras.
Yeah.
We need a before show and like an after show so people can see us warm up. We were talking before about how in dancing, specifically Indian dancing or Asian,
classical, Eastern, Indian dance, Kathak, Bharatanatyam.
Okay.
Precisely. They hold their hands, and my wife is learning about this in yoga. Actually, she's going to be certified by the end of September. But you hold your hands like this, or different fingers to your thumbs, and it's supposed to, I don't know, it has homeopathic effects to wake you up and all that sort of stuff. If you're interested, just Google it.
See, Farah's showing us that you have to tilt your head slightly as you do it as well. Oh boy.
I can't quite do it. Hooper, you were doing pretty good. So welcome back, Hooper. How was offline there for a few seconds?
It was an amazing experience. I encourage everybody to try it offline. Just random click the X's on your windows right now, and it's a phenomenal experience.
It's kind of like an offline hit. I'm gonna take a little offline hit.
Take a little offline hit. I'm gonna get off instead of get high, right?
Yeah. You get off, you do some mudras, and then you come back.
Exactly.
Well, we've already talked about that for this episode, so we could probably change the subject. Bikinis last week, and then getting off this week. Come on, people, clean it up. iTunes is already busted. You can't actually subscribe to us on iTunes anymore. Still haven't figured it out.
We're banned. We're so controversial.
I thought about something. If you have experience with Slack, I've been trying to do this. I can't quite figure out how to do it. I'm trying to RSS straight from a Slack channel. I don't think it's possible. I think you have to go through Evernote or some other service first. But if you haven't figured it out, or if you have figured it out already, please shoot me a note so we can figure it out. We'll share our show notes with you live.
So are you on like Slack's payroll, Baron? Because everything you've been tweeting about and blogging about lately has been all up in Slack. I'm just like wondering if there's like a little kickback here from Slack. All of a sudden.
It used to be Trello, so I think he just jumps from one.
No, I use both. I use Trello too. So the missing part of Trello is communication, and the missing part of Slack is tasks.
Wow. It's a change.
Marriage.
It is a good marriage, and I guess one of them has already leaked that they're going into the other one. I think Slack is adding task management or something like that. And Trello you could actually use as a communication platform too, but I haven't quite figured that out. So, speaking of communication platforms and frameworks, because I actually named this episode something relevant.
Oh.
Bluetooth?
Bluetooth.
Oh man, the problems with Bluetooth. So right beforehand, Faraz's speakers were paired to something else. Or her machine was paired to some other speakers, so it was playing our voices somewhere else. I have the same problem sometimes. I'll be on a conference call and my wife will start up the car.
Yes.
And drive away.
With your conversation.
I miss the conversation. They hear my kids.
Yes. Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. Especially when you're talking to your girlfriend.
The fix, some application developer somewhere should make it so that you have to like confirm pairing on the device, or if you've got a WebEx open, it doesn't pair to Bluetooth sources names.
Or maybe just a small little thing. Hey, you're in a Hangout and you're paired to something that's not your computer.
Yeah.
You might want to consider what.
I wonder if you can get like a Bluetooth map and then just go around a hotel and just force, songs in people's rooms.
It wouldn't be that tough. The thing is most of them have a key of 0000. So
Kawasaki gets a Barry White play track and the population booms. It's like another blackout.
Wow.
Kawasaki, that should be amazing because you would totally one-up Baron on his camera at the, what was it, the pet place.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a good challenge, and you could see how, how disruptive you could really be.
This is momentous, people. We have had 2 episodes in a row that have talked about actual hacking. Someone has to tell Adam Mason. Someone.
It's just not that easy. So it is funny though how you talk about authorization and management, and that's just the barrier to Bluetooth. I want Bluetooth. I want to walk in and have it connect automatically. We need technology that's going to read our minds, right?
Yeah, or stop with these external sensory devices like speakers. Why not just have it directly into our ears?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then oh, I'm in front of my computer. I'm touching this keyboard.
That's exactly right.
And so then it knows.
We also just talked about all of that without even touching on the framework.
Yeah, frameworks are important too. So the reason that I titled it Frameworks specifically is because I had this incredible experience where I posted something about how ServiceNow is a cloud platform, but it doesn't really feel like a cloud platform anymore because they keep versioning like specific features. So like now there's I think 3 variants of project management, 3 variants of knowledge management. 2 major variants of change where they even moved like some of the parent tables in the database and stuff like that. And I posted this on LinkedIn, and right away someone said something ITIL-ish, and immediately this other person, it looks like he's got an English name and a Russian name, so I assume that he's bilingual or trilingual or multilingual, posts, I think, maybe 12 or 14 like direct copy pastes from ITIL books into my LinkedIn thread.
Yes.
And I think
ITIL is a thread killer.
Many things.
Tweet it. Tweet it. And then earlier this week, I talked with this gentleman. His name is John Jasinski, and he's highly connected in the Minneapolis area. I see him at all these events, and he's sort of like a jack of all trades. And he really loves, more than anything else in the world, COBIT 5. He loves it because it's sort of like a strategic pullback from all these other frameworks, and then it just says, like, for knowledge management, for example, it says, here are some references. Here are some frameworks or best practices you could go look for ideas in this space. It's like a framework to manage frameworks, kind of.
Right.
And I think that's really interesting. I think that's the way that a lot of innovative people already work. They're looking at Lean and Agile and ITIL and PMO or PMBOK and everything to see what works.
There's too much bloat in the frameworks, though. That's the problem. It's like
yes.
I seriously want to rewrite the way we approach these things.
Yes.
We overcomplicate. You're resolving something or you're fulfilling something. I mean, come on. Let's not get away from ourselves. And at the end of the day, every single company that's out there implementing ITIL has only embarked on incident, request, and change. So.
It still blows my mind. It actually blows my mind. It's sad that it's just IPK. Oh, and request.
Yeah.
And change. And that's about it.
Yeah.
The famous 5.
Yeah. And what really matters the most is asset and config. No one does it.
Yeah, because they're difficult. It's difficult. There's a lot of data to sift through in those cases.
Well, it's because it's systems management, which is what most of IT operations already knows how to do. And it's not cool to do what you've already been doing, right? So all these service management people came in and said, oh, let's not be systems managers. Let's be service managers so we're aligned with the business. And all they did is repackage their stupid IT stuff, which no one cares about. There's no value there.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, you're contemplating.
Yeah. Service portfolio would be, if you were to do anything, you would start with asset management and service portfolio. And that's all you would focus on. It would be continual service improvement around those 2 things, and nothing else would matter.
Yeah, so what do you think about this? If I'm starting down a service portfolio path,
Yep.
doesn't it mean that I need to design the service to sort of fit that portfolio?
No, no. So you're thinking like an IT person. The service portfolio is already the business services in which you're supporting your end customers with. So if you're an insurance company, it's quoting, issuance, policy, rating, underwriting, claims. It has nothing to do with you designing jack. You're supposed to figure out what assets you have that support underwriting and claims and quoting and how to make them better and more innovative.
But if you don't have an asset to go with it, you have to design one, right?
Of course you have. If you don't have an asset to go with it, you're not in business. Of course you have an asset that goes with it.
It's true.
But yes, Mark, if you're starting an insurance company tomorrow, you would have to figure out how to design it.
Right. I think that's a good point.
Or outsource it, right?
Right.
Or partner with e-insurance and leverage it like Nationwide did, or whoever uses those guys.
But you know, in continuing on that point, which I think is so valid, right? For all those companies that are already established, if they just got their portfolio in order and maybe focused on, I would say, config, an asset, I think, and understood the relationships, I think the downstream impacts of improving efficiencies with incident, request, and all those other things just naturally will come.
They would naturally come.
Right. It's just, you don't have to focus on all these other things. Get those two right.
If you want to clean a pond, clean the stream that feeds it.
So let me ask you this. In those two spaces, asset and config, is it better to do a gradual approach? Like, for instance, I can't afford to invest in a CMDB tool, so we're using Excel, right? Is that okay? Is that okay to do? Like, what is step one? Or do you want to skip all that and go straight to automated?
I want to go straight to automated. We are so far beyond email and Excel as you're purchasing a procurement tool, your design and configuration tool, and your implementation and operation change, release, and project management tool. Okay? If you're still doing that, then slap yourself and get out of this business.
But you can't find free tools for all of those things. You need money at some point. And then, like, what size company or at what level of investment do you actually want to get to that?
Well, the thing is that, so I kind of agree with both of you, right? Like, if we look at discovery tools and money licensing models nowadays, I mean, there's different, you know, depending on if you're, you know, using ADDM for storage discovery, you could still do discovery on your servers and not buy the storage discovery. So I think going back to Matt's original point, to me, where's the biggest value? I just had this conversation with a few clients in the recent, you know, the last few weeks, is that application to, you know, server, to me, gets a whole lot of bang for my buck, because I'm seeing where some of my business facing applications are connecting to, and that tells me a lot in of itself. And then I can worry about storage and all that other stuff later on, right? But I think it's focusing on where are some of your biggest pain points today, you know, and what gives you the most bang for your buck. And you can then be successful in saying, let me start with a piece of my CMDB.
Yeah, but when you outsource something and you go to the cloud for something, like your exchange environment, for example, becomes Office 365 or whatever, your config goes out the window. It's not important anymore. I mean,
not necessarily.
I mean, I've done it at Emory, where, you know, I had this vast service map, and it's down to literally one line to a cloud CI. They're not going to tell me what servers they're running there, and
which is fine, but the business for them, in most businesses that I've seen, is what's unique to them, right? It's these custom apps, these innovative things that the businesses are now shifting and focusing and building in-house. That's what we want to really understand and build the foundation behind, right?
I think that you're at a good spot in that place, Mark. I think that's why you, like, don't see that as a challenge necessarily. Like, especially if you've got one line.
But it's not one line, right? It can't be one line, because you still have calendaring, email, you have potentially, you know, if you're using the shared drive with OneDrive. So I mean,
it's all one object, though. I mean,
it's one object with multiple service value flows, right?
Yes.
So you have to think about what are you doing? Are you doing enrollment on your email package? I mean, do you communicate with your students through email?
No, I understand that, but we have no visibility into the lines between those features within the Microsoft environment. So
but who cares? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that your interface to SMTP and IMAP and POP3 are up and available and performing the way you need them to perform for your business.
Right.
Which is why outsourcing in cloud is awesome.
Right. So I totally agree with that. So it becomes more about the business functionality and the systems that support that, and not about the assets themselves and how you're managing those through change or anything like that.
Yeah,
Kiss your assets goodbye. That's what you should
do. What?
Kiss your assets goodbye.
It's a good idea. The more assets you turn into CIs, the better.
And the more complicated processes you turn into standard automation, the better, right? Like, how many changes do you do in your environment that you're still going through some rigorous CAB and change authorization process?
Too many.
If you're not focused on standardizing those changes and automating those, then you're just making yourself a barrier to business objectivity, and you're the reason why a business is not going to progress, and they're going to go around you.
Yep. Which is why I named this Frameworks, because I had someone attack on that. There's a Twitter thread, and I can post it. But basically, someone was saying that they didn't want changes to go through CAB anymore because they're just pushing to prod because they're doing the DevOps. And so, we had this discussion around. Of course, ITIL didn't tell you had to do that once a week. Some bad consultant did, right? Like, make a CAB meeting user acceptance, or make a CAB meeting, make it nothing. Do a standard change. Don't review it in CAB. Like, it's a bad consultant or a user organization that made you assume that.
I know. You can automate, looking for certain conditions or factors, and then kick it back if it meets a certain criteria for amount of risk or whatever, right?
Well, this is the thing, right? So it's so funny because this is, like, seriously, it's just a bunch of deja vu going on right now. But I think another fear factor as to why people are not letting go of this notion of I have to have a formal CAB meeting and approve all this crap is this audit notion. Audit and compliance said, therefore we must. And it's like, no, they said people misunderstand audit just as bad as a consultant comes in and misunderstands the framework.
That's right.
Or auditors misunderstand what they're supposed to be doing.
But it's
true.
Have you all seen the DevOps audit guide to audit that's come out?
Yeah, they just released that, didn't they?
It's fantastic, right? And what it really helps you understand is, listen, it's not about more governance. It's about applying governance. It's about applying agility to the governance you have to live under. So if there's a financial control within our corporate organization for, say, PCI, and we need to make sure that this software asset does not change or complies with PCI based on these checkpoints, how do we automate the testing and validation of that? And how do we bifurcate the person who wrote the code to the person who validates it? Now, it doesn't mean that the other person is not a developer or whatever. It's just not in the same team. And so now we've got the checks and balances in place, and we can still move quickly. We can still move fast.
Interesting.
Can I get an amen?
Work for me.
That's why I'm the ITSM evangelist.
Oh my God. All right. Well, let me give a specific example, and I want to see what you do with it. If asset and config is really all we need. So let's say, okay, you've got State Farm with agents all over the place, all over the U.S. You've got Geico that has no agents, right, except a few that handle things collectively when there's problems within their systems.
It's claims agents, yeah.
Now, what if State Farm decided we want to be like Geico, we want to fire all of our agents to save money and have systems that will support us in this? Is that change possible?
It's too late.
No, that changes. Mark, I'll spin it the other way. Would that change be possible without configuration management?
Right.
What are the business services that those agents use, and what are the assets that underpin those business services, and how do we then modify those so the requests go into the agents to go into the...
What frameworks try to do is they try to give you, turnkey solutions for handling certain types of different situations. So it tries to define what design is, so that if you want to make a big change like that, you know kind of how to set yourself up to be able to do that in a way that you're not inventing that process from nothing, right?
Yeah.
So
out of box.
Right. I mean, it's not ideal, but if you don't understand what incident and change and request are, you're going to probably be providing bad support or service.
But here's the problem, though, is that the frameworks are not clear in their guidance, and it's left way up to misinterpretation. I was just speaking in Columbus, Ohio on Wednesday, and after giving my presentation on the value of service management, the guy goes, he raises his hand, he goes, so we want to do this, but we just can't afford an incident manager for network, and an incident manager for storage, and an incident manager for this, and an incident manager for that. I told him, I said, who told you that? The incident manager is a role. It's Batman Bruce Wayne. Your network manager is going to sometimes be resolving stuff, and they're going to play the incident manager. They're sometimes going to say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of resolving the same issues over. We got a systemic problem. I'm going to play problem manager, and then once they figure out how to fix it, they're going to play change manager, then project manager, then release manager.
I need a raise. I'm going to be the IT director.
I'm going to code it, and this is DevOps right here.
Yeah. And that's one of the original IT problems, is that the network manager always thought that he only had to solve technical issues and that's it, not run a process or have a role like that. And so we screwed up in the very beginning.
But even ITIL, you know, it's funny too, because like actually people blame ITIL for this. It's just not clear, but it's not wrong. It says you're not wrong, to be Patrick Folger for a second. You know, it gives us these functions that exist in the, you know, you both have the operational functions and the design functions, but it's people who have technical domain expertise who are doing activities, and in their course and action of the activity, they are operating under these processes. And actually, in my presentation, I was saying to them, I said, every one of you is doing ITSM. You may suck at it, but you do it. Give me an example of what you do today, and I will point to a process on this chart. And I had 37 different processes I've picked out of ITIL on the board, and they would name it something. I go, okay, you're doing release management at that point. You're racking and stacking that little hard drive into the storage area network. You're releasing, and the reason you're releasing is because someone's already authorized you to do that, and that was part of change. And the reason why someone actually had to authorize it was because someone requested it, which went into an official project. So that was request and project.
Huh.
So every activity you do falls within a process. Now, they may be on paper or in your head, but you're doing them.
Right. As long as they can't be automated. You know what would be fun is to try to rewrite ITIL 20 years from now and write it as if everything was automated that could possibly be automated. Which processes would exist at that point?
Slim. And it is exactly that, Mark. I welcome the three of you on this podcast. Write that book. We need to do that. We need to do that. We need to write this as if technology could manage technology.
Yeah. Right.
It's so true. I mean, we've complicated what should have been inherently uncomplicated.
Yes.
And then when you look at DevOps, to me, that's the philosophy that makes that I still think DevOps and ITIL have such a good play together. And DevOps, in many ways, is a philosophy that simplifies so much of what ITIL has complicated, right?
It's so funny, too, Farah, because if you look back across developers, they've always thought this way. Developers have inherently used error handling as a way to validate things. If error condition equals 0, then do this. If it equals 1, then do this.
It's been a bad rep for whatever reason.
Yeah, but they've never had the operational experiences to understand, well, what was the expectation, right? So part of what I've framed in the book so far is let's build transactions with the intent to monitor fault, availability, capacity, change, security, and performance. It's what we're going to monitor in operations. So if you're designing and developing it, develop it with those things in mind. Already pre-built what your expectation and result is, and then pass it to me in an API. And I will build a monitoring tool that automatically self-discovers, self-correlates, self-configures, and self-monitors.
Yep.
Which is why the new DevOps roles are so, it's it's more relevant. You have to be a jack of all trades.
You have to be.
And I think you kind of hit on it then when you were talking about app dev not having the ops experience. Whenever you found someone with good ops experience, like a basis, a foundation why this stuff shouldn't break, or if they were a tester in a previous life, if you find those developers that have moved into the role, oh my gosh.
Gold.
I don't know. I think maybe that's a temporary thing, though. You have to be a jack of all trades right now because we haven't made it yet.
And because no one can afford to hire an expert on everything, because if you try to hire a Docker expert right now, good lucker.
But it's coming. I literally sat in the airport on Wednesday, and the two guys next to me were talking about Docker, containerized microservices, and what the configuration is for deployment on those things. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. I'm sitting here actually randomly next to people who are talking about Docker microservices, which I've been involved with for the past 5 years, right? So
it's huge.
It's becoming commoditized, right?
Yeah.
It's like how many network engineers actually know the ombrage of a Cat5 cable? They don't.
Not anymore. And why would you? With SDN, it doesn't matter. Cat5 doesn't. It's irrelevant.
Would they even know the twisted pair schema for A versus B?
I don't think so.
Probably a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. Back when I did networking, I had to know that. I had to crimp my own cables. Yeah. I had to know how my twisted pair lineups were with my blue and white.
That's
right?
a sidebar nerd comment. So I was in the Canadian skills competition, and I won gold for my ability to splice a Cat5 UTP cable and read
the specs.
So sad.
But we don't ever need to think about that. In fact, right now, who even has a network cable around? Everything's wireless, right? So as advancement in technologies enabled us to be more forward-thinking. In like Windows 10, everybody's freaking out about the fact that now your friends can automatically connect to your wireless network, right? Completely moronic idea, and I don't know who was thinking about it in its execution, but in the concept of it, it's a great idea because what they're trying to do is make life easier, right? So I love the idea to make life easier, but don't be stupid about it.
Well, that's already happening with Comcast. Any Comcast router anywhere in anyone's home you can connect to.
Yes.
With the Xfinity network. They build that in, you sign up that's what you agreed to. So you can have people on your home wireless network without even realizing it.
Well, it's firewalled, though.
It is. It's a guest network, but it still has some issues with doing that.
But it doesn't mean you can't suck up their bandwidth and give them a DOS tag.
Well, and Comcast has a way around it now. When you join it, there's a login that they want you to use the user login for the account, for the homeowner's account. Yeah. My neighbor just got it. They didn't have wireless. They were using a hotspot in their house. And they finally got Xfinity, and now, because Xfinity as a Wi-Fi as a SSN or SSID. The name of the wireless network, it's very common. And so, of course, I had joined one called Xfinity before, and so it auto-joined that one instead of mine.
Yep.
I'm like, why is it asking me to sign into Xfinity? And that's basically like a phishing attack, like a crazy, neighbor-hateful phishing attack on me.
Well, how many times do you go around people when they, Linksys forcing needs to fix this, but Linksys used to be the default name for Linksys routers, and everybody go out and Best Buy and buy one. You'd go down the street and connect to random Linksys, and you'd be on their network-attached Western Digital storage, flipping through their home videos. Like, yeah, this is really bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's not a good way to operate, and like the hotel thing where you have to accept a security certificate that's not valid to join a network like that.
So easily hackable.
That sort of stuff is really bad practice, and it's so widespread that what the moral of the story is: number one, buy a wireless router that has a VPN built into it, and number two, have a VPN on your computer to use anytime you're out. If you're not, you're riding the internet bareback.
Not cool.
Lots
of chafing goes on.
It's not cool. I tweeted it today. That's the only reason that I was comfortable saying it out loud. All right, so that's Hacking Business Technology. Thanks for bringing the thunder this week. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.